guys, Tom Boy 601, and today we are in the Connecticut, the all-new Tier 6 hybrid battleship. I'm sure you have seen plenty of these out on the high seas. I feel like the drop rates on the crates have been fairly decent for people because I feel like I've seen a lot of the early access ships out and about, and I'm really hoping that you're getting those from the free crates or something like that. But today we're in Connecticut and we have a very exciting game. So what is the deal with Connecticut? Well, it's a North Carolina hull with Florida guns, and it's a hybrid battleship. So it's a bit of a wonky overall experience, and it's the first one in the line, but I think it provides a good time to kind of show off what's what with these hybrid battleships. Now, as far as my commander goes, I am running Azure Lane, New Jersey with the full AP build, or the full damage build, if you will. That's going to be with Ciliax and Arthas as the inspirations, and then using all of the damage perks to go in there to make the AP as deadly as possible. The reason we're doing this is because, well, you're going to fire your guns a lot more than you're going to use airstrikes in this game, or with the hybrids. It just happens that you cycle your guns faster than you're able to put out airstrikes, and well, for one, that is a good thing. Let's be very clear about that. This makes these hybrids something that is usable for a lot of people. I think it forces them to still be engaged in the battle, which is why I've been really enjoying them, because, well, you get a secondary way to engage people. As you saw, we dropped on that reversing Connecticut, enemy Connecticut, and got ourselves our first 30k worth of damage. And now we have a Nuremberg coming around the corner. We are already spotted, which means this is probably going to end up hurting, but I want to get the kill on this Nuremberg. We go ahead and fire the guns, and well, we get that Florida dispersion because, of course, the guns are Florida turrets, and Florida not exactly known for her accuracy. Dear Ouija, please buff Florida. Thanks. But anyways, we're going to advance on this Nuremberg, try to turn into where we know those torps are going to come in, but this is going to end up hurting a good chunk right here as we take a couple torps from the Nuremberg, but we get the hit that we wanted, and we take an extra torp from the Connecticut up there. Interesting strategy from him, not trying to cross drop. That is, I think, the preferred strategy for a lot of people is this sort of cross drop, and it provides a way where if you have an enemy who's not paying attention, you can do a ton of damage to them. As you saw just even earlier, this Warspite, he is paying attention, unfortunately, and that's something you do sort of have to pay attention to. And there's a reason, as far as our build goes with Connecticut, we are running the prop mod. I think a lot of more people are going to start running prop mod to help with dodging these airstrikes, because being able to change the speed of your vessel the second you notice an airstrike is coming in provides a ton more ability to sort of dodge them, which is the difficult thing. You'll see we are doing what we can. We're trying to retreat back and heal up as we get a very solid hit on the Warspite there. And we're doing sort of what the Connecticut does well. The Connecticut and pretty much all of these new hybrid battleships are very good at being these sort of bow tankers, at finding these little nooks within islands to sort of dig themselves into, to forward and reverse kind of throttle jockey around these islands, to allow them to kind of help lock down one lane while also providing support to another if their aircraft can reach it. Of course, in this example, our aircraft are not able to reach, but we're just trying to sort of bide our time to get our heals off, because we want to be able to, use our heals. As this Connecticut looks like he's long for the road. You can see he is at our max range now, which means that we are not going to be able to drop the torps in an effective range in order to do some damage to him. So we're going to have to rely on the guns. Thankfully, we are able to relatively easily dodge his incoming rounds and his incoming planes. But we now need to start sort of paying attention to the right half of this map. Because if we look at our team dispersion, it's very heavily slanted off to the left-hand side. We need to be able to provide support off to this right-hand side. And what we're going to be able to do is provide crossfires as we take out the Connecticut here. And he gets a couple of good shots in on us. But this right-hand side, the team is relatively dispersed, but we've now cleared the center line to allow us to push up and get what is going to be a fantastic crossfire on the rest of this right-hand flank. And that is exactly what we're going to do. We're going to use this island that's off to the left and try to use it to protect us, and then slowly sort of pie out these corners to try and engage these battleships one by one and take down their hit points. Of course, they are being a bit tentative because our one destroyer is out on their flank, so I think they are being a bit scared. Warspite probably should have gone down by now, given how much our team is firing at him. Do we get our kill off? No. Sadly, we don't get the kill on Warspite. We end up wasting that salvo. But hey, it is what it is. We now have a enemy team that is perfectly bisected, right? Draw that line down the center. We have a team that is divided down the middle, and that is going to now play to our advantage because they're going to have to cross. They're both within cover right now, but people get antsy. They want to move. So we are all tied up as far as ships go. So this is getting a little shaky. And you can see we're trying to see if we can get an angle to drop on that Colorado. Sadly, there's nothing for us there, but we are waiting on what is I believe it's a New Mexico. It's another American standard battleship. I know that for a fact. That is behind this other island, and we're seeing just who wants to poke out first and allow us to get a couple of shots off. We do still have all three of our planes, which is going to be helpful for us. Of course, the planes are our sort of superpower with Arthas the Cold. We're going to provide ourselves a 20% buff to damage when we have that plane up. New Mexico comes out broadside to us. It's a beautiful salvo that we get on him here. And now we're going to try and figure out where we can drop these planes. As far as dropping goes, I know I've seen some people have trouble with getting these down correctly. The best thing I can say is try to use that auto aim. It does a fairly good job on leading the enemy planes, or leading the planes into the enemy, and kind of just try to use your judgment. You'll get used to it, and that's exactly what you can see. We went ahead and popped our plane. The reason we popped our plane was to do as much damage as possible because we wanted the kill from that destroyer. Because Arthas's buff applies to torpedoes dropped by these ships as well, which is sort of utterly broken. But hey, it is what it is. Now we're up to 3 kills, and we know we have a Colorado lurking nearby. And of course, Colorado is a substantive threat to us. We're based on a North Carolina hull, and as such, we have a very juicy 25mm bow that his 16-inch guns can absolutely go through. So we need to play this next pick correct, because as you can see, we don't exactly have the most amount of health waiting to go, but we need to figure out a way to sort of hope that we don't get engaged. And of course, our teammate is forcing the issue here. We have a teammate who is about to cap out the enemy here, which is going to force the issue on this Colorado. Colorado has to expose himself. He has to focus that enemy cruiser that is in the cap, and thanks to that, he's going to allow us to do to have some nice unmitigated strikes against him. You can see the aiming reticle there being a bit wonky, but as long as this Colorado maintains his current course, we should be able to get a decent hit on him as our guns are about to come back one more time. We're just starting to get at that angle where not all the guns are going to hit, but we do a decent job there. Get 2 torpedo hits as well, giving us the high caliber. And now that now that our cruiser is finished, Colorado is starting to turn towards us, and we know it's going to hurt. But thankfully, he is staying broadside, which is nice. We also have a plane coming up very shortly, which I believe we're going to try to use depending on how these next shots go. You can see just how much damage he pops from us, taking out both our front turret for a brief amount of time and just chunking us for a large amount of damage. But thankfully, we've been able to get some pretty substantive salvos into him. And, well, I think this is going to be his final salvo in the game. We are currently down on ships, which is not great. It's not a great position to be in. Tied up on ships now. And thankfully, I'm going to call it, we have the ship type advantage, right? 2 cruisers and a battleship versus a destroyer into battleships. So if we rock, paper, scissors, we have all of the hard counters to them, right? Of course, they do have cruisers that could counter our destroyers, but we're down at tier 6. Battleships remain very much supreme down here at tier 6, which means pretty much our guns, even though we have relatively small guns, 356, 15-inch guns, still means that we can absolutely bully cruisers, especially the Pensacola's who are just out in open water. So we just need to land probably one more shell into this Pensacola, and, well, that's going to give us the Kraken. So here comes... Do we get the Kraken here? Yes, we do. Confederate and Kraken on the same shot. And we have a Surrey now inbound. Our torpedo planes are back up and running. So it's time to try and get ourselves the 6-pack here. And, well, we're going to continue sort of with our strategy of cruiser in open water. Not great idea. We do now have a Nagato coming in within range, which is not great for us just because, you know, we're a big ship. We're easily spotted. He also big 16-inch guns, which are going to hurt. But now you're going to see one of the great powers of the Connecticut, and that is to force the turn on the enemy. You saw we went ahead, we laid down our flight there, and it's going to force this Surrey. He probably should have turned the other way, but he decided to turn in for what is the shelter, which I understand the idea, and he's pretty much down. We get one hit with the torpedo and a flood. Unfortunately, the friendly destroyer is going to end up taking the kill there, denying us the 6-pack, but that's okay because now we have Nagato here. Of course, this one not going to be great for us. We did drop spot there, so we probably could have just hit into reverse and tried to avoid taking this confrontation. But at this point, we do have just an enemy. We have a destroyer on our side. Even if we go down, we've held off the cap for long enough. They're not going to get the points victory on us. And, well, hopefully our destroyer has enough headspace to go ahead and win. But, guys, that's where I'm going to leave you. Thankfully, destroyer does know what he's doing. He ends up getting us the win, and we end up walking home with the Kraken, the Confederate, and the High Cow. A very decent game here in the Connecticut. And, guys, if you like videos like this, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. See ya.